So, Justin, thank you for having us in your house. Um, at first, I am Leonardo. So if you cannot understand what I'm saying because I'm from Brazil, so maybe my English is not that good. Someone will help me with this interview.
Okay.
And at first, I think that we should record 15 to 20 seconds of the silence of the sound of the house. So 20 seconds of word silence. Okay. So what I have here are like the forms that we need you to sign. It's like about the project description and the risks and the confidentiality. So we are there, like as we said before, to tell the history of the neighborhood by the houses and those who live there or that will live there. That's your case. So the risks are minimal, and so because of like all this audio will be public, you can like if there's a part that you want us to remove from the interview, we can do. You just need to write like which part you don't want us to share. So those are like two forms because this is like the audio and photo recording. And so if you can fill out and sign for us,
Okay.
you feel free to read.
The contact information, or if you want us to take some stuff out.
Sure.
So this interview is about you and your expectations and what you know about Washington Park.
Okay.
So let's start with what do you tell me about you, like your family?
Sure. I'm a stay-at-home father of 1 2-year-old child. My wife works, and I have a passion for the old, the odd, and the unusual things in life. I go to rummage sales quite a bit, and I'm always finding oddities. I like to work on small motorcycles and mopeds in my free time in the summertime. And yeah, that's about it for me these days.
Where are you from?
I'm from northern Wisconsin, in a small town called Superior, Wisconsin. It's the most northwestern corner of the state.
Oh.
Right on the tip of Lake Superior.
Okay. I went to Rhinelander
Okay.
during Easter. It's really north.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have one or two children?
One.
One.
He's sleeping right now.
Okay. And your wife works. Okay. There's anything that you would like to ask him about, like his life?
Yeah, if you could, like, say who you are, the property that you're buying, the address.
Sure.
If you
We just recently put an accepted offer in on a beautiful 1860s home on 1430 North 40th Street, and that's on the southeastern corner of Washington Park.
And so, what do you know about Washington Park, the neighborhood?
Yeah, I know it's the former grounds of the original Milwaukee County Zoo, and I also know that none of my friends have ever go there or know much about it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm telling them that I'm moving there, they don't. And I ask them, "Have you actually walked around the park?" All of them say no.
And what are your expectations?
Sure.
to live there?
Well, I have a 2-year-old son, so that park was definitely a driving point for us making the purchase. I know the park isn't necessarily the safest, as they say, but it was too beautiful to pass up the park and the home we purchased. So that combination. So I'm hoping that it isn't as bad as people think.
Have you ever been to the house inside?
Yes.
So what do you think about the house?
It's gorgeous. It's completely upkept for being a home from 1860. We'll be the 5th owner of this home. And yeah, the home was, part of the reason why we went with it. Just, it looks like an old library from the outside, and the yard is huge too.
So what was your first thought when you saw the house?
Well, how I saw the house was I was searching on the Shore West application for homes because we were in the market to buy a home, and both of us are so picky as to what we needed and wanted. So I was typing keywords in to narrow my search down, and the key word that I typed in to find that home was the word barn.
Oh, yeah,
Because
the
the space, I'm looking for a lot of space in my garage, and I type in barn. Another word I would type in would be acres of land in the city. I didn't find it with that, but the word barn brought me to it.
Okay. And someone would like to ask something?
Yeah, if we could take the story back to your own story. You said you're from Superior.
Yes.
When did you come to Milwaukee? How long ago was it? What brought you
Okay,
here?
so yeah, I just graduated high school, and I was, Superior's not that big of a city, and I always craved, the bigger city. So any opportunity I could, I wanted to move, and my first opportunity was to move to Minneapolis with a girlfriend at the time. So I did that for a couple years, and then the relationship fizzled out. So then I moved to where my friends from high school were currently living, and that was Green Bay, Wisconsin. So I lived there for 5 years, had a girlfriend that fizzled out. So then I moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where my friends that I met in Green Bay moved. So I'm just kind of, following the herd, following like-minded people, but Milwaukee proved to not let me go, and here I am, probably be here forever. It's a great city.
When did you come to Milwaukee? What year? Do you remember?
2005.
Also, I wanted to ask more about. You said that your friends hadn't heard about Washington Park, and the safety might have been.
They've heard of it. They just never went there or knew anything much
yes.
about it.
So the concern of safety. Could you talk a bit more about it? Was it your friend's concern, or is it your own concern for, the park for the child?
A little bit of everything. I mean, just that you hear stories on the news, and it's in an area that younger people aren't necessarily flocking to. So it's just, I don't know. It's on a fringe area is what I like to call. That's why I like River West, because River West is also on the fringe. it's not, the taxes are low. It used to not be in demand, but now River West is in demand. So things change, and it's kind of a gamble to buy a home, and I'm a gambling man sometimes. So maybe I feel that Washington Park will change, and because half of it is really expensive, the other half is really cheap. Buying the cheap.
And what do you think about like the diversity of the neighborhood? Do you think that will be it would be nice for like your child grow up in this surrounded by this diversity, and do you think that will be important?
Yeah, it's always important to be around different people. I'm going to make him travel the world when he's old enough with me, and I'm going to make him go to places that not everyone wants to go to for, to experience it. And because, again, your dollar goes further where people don't want, the general population doesn't want to go. So if you go to an area that's not as touristy and wanted, then you get a lot for your dollar. Kind of the same with purchasing a home. You get more for your money because it's, the general population doesn't want that right now. And maybe they will eventually when the trends start happening and, they follow the trends. So, yeah, it's great that he'll be in that diverse neighborhood.
Any impressions or stories that you'd like to share with us about, that neighborhood? You must have visited the place and neighborhood quite a few times, or any stories impressions that you've made by reading or hearing or listening to other people talk about this neighborhood while you were formulating this decision of buying a home there and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't know, it's scary when you tell people where you're buying and they give you that look like, what are you thinking? Are you crazy? Yeah, it's always like a kick in the gut, but they obviously don't know and they haven't been there. I don't know. I sometimes like to jump into things. Maybe it's very comparable to River West, I think. You got the Harambe in River West area would be equivalent to Washington Park. And then I think River West is equal to Martin Drive, which is directly across the street from my future home. And then you got, the east side over here, which I would equate to Washington Heights, which is the rich area, the high taxes, where people, where white people want to live because they're scared. That's my thought pattern on that neighborhood area. So we'd be in the on Holton Street essentially, but over there.
Okay, so I wanted to ask how you see, yourself fitting into the community or that neighborhood, as far as, the things that you like to do here at present. Would you be able to pursue those interests and how and whatnot?
River West is kind of a wild neighborhood. I used to call it Never Land because everyone, felt like everyone was in their 20s. Everyone was out to have a good time. Everyone was drinking every night. There were, illegal parties and rock concerts in people's basement. I feel Washington Park won't offer me those things that I know of. But, again, I haven't slept one night there, so I don't know. I feel like it's an older crowd or a really younger crowd. It doesn't have that college kid feel yet. I mean, maybe when I move in it might change, but probably not. Maybe, probably. But yeah, that's the only thing I can think of for that.
Are you comfortable telling us how old you are?
Sure, I just turned 33 yesterday.
Oh, Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
You must have some leftover cake that we could eat.
Yeah, might be some in
That's
there.
a joke. That's a joke.
Oh, doesn't have to be.
We're students, so we're always
Yeah.
looking for free food.
Right.
Could you tell us more about your wife?
Sure. She's a beautiful young lady, mother of my child. I've known her for, known her for 8-9 years now. Yeah. So she's working. She works. She is an event coordinator downtown Milwaukee at Joey Bona's Pizzeria. She does the corporate. She books corporate events for them. Her hobbies are, I guess, both of our hobbies now are our son.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of takes over your life. Yeah. So. She. One thing whenever somebody says like, how can you're really gonna move over there? And then I always say, well, if Heather agreed to it, then it must not be that bad. So like I was end the conversation like that. A little segue into probably what we want to talk about. Yeah.
Was she hesitant? What were her thoughts about, as you know?
Sure.
About
While we were going through our home buying process, I was always looking in the rougher areas where we get the most for our money. I was always looking in that area where the common developer or land flipper wouldn't necessarily be looking. So I was always kind of looking in Harambe. I was looking in Kings Park, which is downtown. It's an area that I feel will eventually pop. And I really wish I could buy some land there and just sit on it because it's going to be worth a lot of money here someday. So I was always looking there, and she was always shooting me down. She was saying, no, I'm not raising my son over there. I'm not raising my son over there. And I never, I don't think that far in advance. I just know, I want a cheap deal. I want cheap. I want inexpensive, but without having to pay bills and tax, high taxes. And, so then I showed her that one, and she's like, oh, it's cute. And then we toured it, and that's when her turning point came around, when she actually stepped foot in that house, and she saw the space of the yard and the well-kept home.
It is a gorgeous home. We've been in.
Yeah, here.
It's just gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Did you walk around in the park or the neighborhood?
Many times while we were doing this home buying process, we just would show up and walk around like we lived there, and it was empty most of the time. We went to, my friend told me he's a bicyclist, and he plays this game called bike polo, and they play only in that park in the basketball court. So they're really established. They have a Yelp page set up for themselves. They have world championships that they go to, and national championships was just held here in Milwaukee for that unique sport that most people don't know about. But I said, hey, I didn't tell him what I was planning on. I said I was thinking about buying in that neighborhood. Tell me about that park. What do I need to know? And he said, north half is rough, south half is fine. So that made me go forward with looking into that house even more, because he's at that park at least once a week practicing, and he said the north side's a little rougher, south side's fine. And then back to that park, back to the north side. So then I like to go where, like my travels, I always go against the grain. When someone says something's bad, I feel they're just regurgitating things that the news says or they've heard. So I like to go against the grain. So then I started taking my son to the north half of the park, and only to find out that there's a brand new, spectacular monster playground up there. It's probably one of the best in the city, and no one was there on a Saturday afternoon. The sun was out, and it was just like us and maybe one other mother-daughter walk through, and I was like, where are all the kids? Why isn't this place jam-packed? I was fine with that, though. Like a dead park's fun. I'd rather go to a quiet park than a playground versus a loud, jam-packed playground where my son would get trampled.
What about the neighborhood? Did you walk around? What was it, Valit that you walked around, or
Didn't do much walking on Valit. I know it's there. I've done a lot of driving. I like the Randown Business District. There's a lot of room for small businesses to grow. That's how I feel like this neighborhood, River West, kind of started out. I feel like Fuel Cafe is kind of the hub of the neighborhood, and it's been here for a while, and the neighborhood kind of built around it, even though it was an established neighborhood prior to that. But this generation that I'm in kind of flocked to Fuel Cafe. So when I see that abandoned business district, there's a bowling alley right there. There's a bunch of just storefronts. It's just, to me, it's waiting for something cool, some like young business people to roll in for some cheap rent, flick their open sign on, and here we go. You know, I feel the city would be more lenient to do wilder things in a dead area than they would in like a east side where you'd have to go through committees, and they would just say, oh, okay, sounds good. And then other streets in the neighborhood I really haven't discovered. Your our acquaintance Aaron told me about this coffee shop over on Lisbon. It's got the Amarin. Yeah, she said it was really great and told me to go there, and I was like, yes, I will. That's great. That sounds good. He knows the neighborhood. And then later that day, I was talking to some girl who runs a Milwaukee website called, it's like Yelp.com. It's the Milwaukee. She's like runs the Milwaukee branch. And I told her about my home, and she's like, that was the first thing she said. She said, oh, that cafe's over there. You got to go. So 2 people in one day sent me to this dude. But I went, and it was closed that late, like 2 days later. He wasn't open. But I like to know that he's over there, and it's just like, you know, a couple, like 10, 12 blocks from my house. So I'll definitely look into that and befriend that fellow.
Yeah, he's quite an. I mean, he's not old, but he's been in that neighborhood for a while.
Okay.
And I think the cafe closes at 2 p.m. So, I mean, if I was living around the neighborhood, I probably will visit it less because I'm nocturnal. So, you know, my coffee starts at 2, not ends at 2.
Yeah.
But still, if I was living in the neighborhood, I'd definitely go check out the bakery, talk to him. He's got a little small garden right by.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, and he basically knows the area so well that he'll tell you more about, you know, places to go, who to meet, what's going on, what associations, what organizations are operating in the neighborhood, what are the neighborhood plans coming together, social gatherings where you could meet your neighbors or residents from other blocks. So I think he's like the go-to person, one of many in that area.
All right.
So yeah.
So learn him as I meet him.
Yeah. So I know that you've told us about, you know, how you came across that house. Other than the monetary reason or, you know, plus point of that house, that, you know, it's cheaper to buy a house in a rougher neighborhood. What are your, you know, thoughts and ideas about a community which, you know, where you would enjoy yourself to the fullest, or, you know, if the money wasn't an issue, you would want XYZ in the community. Like we've talked about the park being good for your child. You know, I personally don't go to parks. I go to coffee shops.
Okay.
So that's something I having a coffee shop 8 to 10 blocks. That's important for me.
Okay.
So, I mean, are there any things that like that you had in your, you know, head? Well, or just
like things I would say I wish I had around me. Like if I could. Again, I think it's back to the young people, the young crowd. I feel they're not present there, but I could be wrong. like-minded people. Like, that's why I love River West, is that it's just a whole bunch of people that kind of are all on the same vibe. Everyone's easygoing. There's not much trouble. Everyone's looking out for each other. Like-minded and like-age people. So that's one thing that I would want to see out of that neighborhood, and or maybe eventually discover that I don't know, that there is like-minded people in Washington Park that, you know, that are on the same page and I can gel with.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
So Justin, thank you very much.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about the cool house I discovered on 33rd and Cherry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Tell us about
Did
that.
you see that yet?
No.
Oh, it's like, it kind of looks like Pee-wee's Playhouse. Somebody did up their home. There's all sorts of big dinosaurs. Like, I got a picture if you want to see it. I took one. But this whole house looks like a museum from the outside. And I discovered it just by aimlessly driving through the neighborhood. And I found this cool fence. They had to fence it in because I'm sure all this stuff was getting stolen. But it looked like an amusement park puked on this house. Just vomited up all, like, the characters. There's dinosaurs. There's Mickey Mouse. Just giant statues. It's definitely unique, and it's art in itself right there.
Did you see anybody? Did you talk to anybody?
No, I didn't. I did not. I just, because I was driving. And my observation before I discovered that was that I was in an Asian neighborhood. Did you know there's an Asian population in Washington Park?
Yes, the Hmong and
Hmong, yeah.
Hmong.
I didn't know that. And then we went, and it was blocks and blocks of Asians. So it was kind of, yeah, it was.
They have a Hmong center there.
Do they?
Yeah, they do.
There's also that giant grocery store on North Avenue called Viet Ho that caters to the whole Asian. Lots of good stuff there.
North 40th Street?
Yeah, the grocery store's on like 55 and North.
We'll definitely check these two.
Yeah, that 33rd and Cherry though, it's great. And then a block from 33rd and Cherry, we saw a drugged out prostitute getting out of a car, putting her shirt on at 9 in the morning.
Wow.
I believe. Speculation. I'm just speculating.
Well, there's still certainly stuff happening in the neighborhood. You can't say it's a dead neighborhood.
No, not at all. Not at all. There's stuff happening.
Is there anything that you could think of that you want to tell us? You said you drove around aimlessly.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
What else did you?
I'm gonna be living there, so I gotta hit these side streets, and that's about it. Yeah, I discovered that. Well, I hope the quickest way to get to Miller Park, where the Brewers play, would be just to get on that railroad track and walk there, because it goes right there. It's another thing I learned, that we'll see if I can or can't do that. Rather than weaving through the streets, just walk the railroad tracks to the ball game. Yeah, Harley's right over there. Miller Brewery's right over there. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening, but just not in the Washington Park neighborhood. So I just want to discover more about Washington Park. And I got to figure out their neighborhood association, because they're right across the street. Martin Drive, they're doing all sorts of big things. They have a committee for everything. Rummage sale, holiday lights, constant updates on their Facebook. It's a super active neighborhood association, and we looked and looked and looked and could not find a neighborhood association for Washington Park. It just doesn't exist. It was, I don't know, it wasn't too user friendly. They're not out there as much, unlike Martin Drive, where they're constantly inviting people to do different things. So, yeah.
Okay. So, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And do you wanna say something?
No, I asked all of the questions that I could think of. Would you? Oh yeah, Stinky. That's her name.
Stinky
right?
Kitty.
We need to take a picture. Do you mind with?
That's fine. Yeah,
Of you.
that's fine.
Okay. place,
Mm-hmm.
and he went there to that house at I think that 1968, and
Yeah.
he wrote a newspaper complaining about some changes that the owner did to the house, and yeah, I think that it's a lovely house. It's so beautiful. The garden, everything in that house. It's,
Yeah, we're getting a great deal, and I feel I feel the only reason we're getting such a good deal is because of the neighborhood it's in and what people think of that neighborhood, and that's why we got a heck of a deal, because people are scared, and I don't know, they don't want. I don't know. We'll see. We're just jumping in,
and as you said about like the business, that there's a lot of space, and I think that what we need now is someone like that said, I wanna open a grocery store here, I wanna open a drugstore, or yeah, it's something that what that place needs, something with like courage, or like that think ahead, like.
And the problem we're seeing with River West right now is that it got popular, so all the suburb people who wanted to pretend they were landlords for the weekend started buying up all the rental units, and then the rent came up.
Mm-hmm.
And then taxes are going up because all the people, the better off people are buying the homes here, and that, when the taxes raise, then the rent raises. So there's already talk about people looking for the next River West.
Oh.
So we're just ahead of the curve on that one. I feel it's just figuring out. I think everyone's going to go east or west of Holton into Harambe, but there's not much like storefronts or businesses over there, so I don't think it's that desirable. And the crime's rougher, I guess. And I heard a news story last night that District 5 is worse for gun crime than any other district in the city. So
like, because I'm not here with the area, where is District 5?
we're in District 5. River West is District
here.
5. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So the highest gun crime is right here in District 5. So that made me feel good laying in bed and watching the news last night, seeing that, a little +1 for Washington Park area, that it's not, as bad for gun crime. But District 5 also swings way over, like, it goes 20 blocks west into the black neighborhood.
So why is it that if crime in this area, or gun crime at least, is higher, that this place I don't live in Milwaukee.
Okay.
I've only heard of River West being a really nice place.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of Washington Park being, not as nice.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think people are usually talking about crime when they use the word nice or not nice. You also said something about scary stories. People have heard scary stories about Washington Park. Are those kind of stories circulating regularly in the media? And why do you think the gap in perception between here and Washington Park exists? Gap in perception and reality between the two places.
Well, with Washington Park, it just takes one, newsworthy story, and then they hear Washington Park, and they automatically connect the two. Like, I believe a teenager, somebody got shot pushing a stroller about 2 years ago. So that stuff stays, and the park wasn't taken care of for many years. It's only till recently that there was I guess the state dumped a ton of money into it, so that brought the quality of the park up and made it a nicer place. Maybe people just don't know of it yet, and people are just, I do the same thing. You judge things, and the one bad thing stands out, and you think it's like that every single day, constantly, and then back to River West. Why is River West? It's just, again, like-minded people. This is like the freak show of the city. This is where all the weird artists and musicians and people who are looking for cheap rent and to make this neighborhood never used to be desirable. This used to be a rough area. It wasn't it. So I feel like just takes a bunch of like-minded people to buy homes, buy into the neighborhood, to make a neighborhood. Because without the weirdos living in this neighborhood, this wouldn't be. No one would hear about it. It would just be like another neighborhood that you don't know about. There's so many neighborhoods in the city that I have no clue, but that are actual neighborhoods. I'm only now discovering that. But River West definitely stands out above most, and it's up there with, the East Side Bayview. It's known. So it just takes like-minded people to make another neighborhood known. Seems simple, but it's just getting over your preconceived notions about what a neighborhood is. And I feel like with the cool new house that I bought and that park, and when I drag people over there to come drink beer with me, they'll maybe I can convince people to get on board and hey, buy a $30,000 home. Let's make this thing happen. There's room for business. There's room, to live. It's cheap rent. It's centrally located in the city. But, all the stuff that my friends and I like are kind of all on the east side or downtown. So it'd be tough to drag them away. Maybe there's somebody else with a kid that wants to come out where they want a little more space. Because, again, homes are too expensive over here now. They got jacked way up. You're not getting nothing for your money over here. So as a homeowner or home buyer, I don't recommend River West at all. Too expensive. Taxes are too high. That'll all change, though. There'll be another neighborhood eventually that somebody, placemaker makes cool, or trendsetter makes happen.
Just one more question. The news clippings that you mentioned, did you actually see them? Or?
Yeah, we got them in our packet of all the stuff on the house, and we misplaced the packet, so we're bugging our realtor to get them. I believe the homeowner said they're going to give us everything once, we do the final walkthrough and we close on the house in a week. We'll get all that stuff, I'm sure. They have no use for it. We do. We have plenty of use for it.
So you didn't get a chance to go through the...
We did. We had the little booklet, and I don't know, I misplaced it, or my wife misplaced it, or my son misplaced it. It's somewhere in this house.
Do you remember anything from it?
Yeah. There was a couple stories. The current owner, I guess, was driving by, and they saw the previous owner to them, and they said, hey, if you ever want to sell this house, give us a call. Was one of the articles, or I don't even remember. It was in there, though. And then so years later, the third owner called the now fourth owner and said, yeah, you can buy this house now, it's for sale. And then another news clipping was had pictures, and it looked like it was pictures of the home. It looked like it was it was a dirt road too. It looked like it was the only home on that block. It was just nothing around it. The same home, just nothing around it. And then there was another one about the house originally being one level, and then them picking it up and moving it blocks away and putting it where it now stands and adding the lower level. So those are 3 stories that I remember from those news clippings. It's 3 really cool, interesting stories.
Okay. Like move a brick
They
house and put in another place. I think that it's probably really hard.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. Wouldn't know where to begin.
Anything else you would like to add?
No, I'm just I'm hoping it, we live a safe life there. I know we're sold on the park, we're sold on the house, and I'm definitely sold on the garage and backyard. I think we'll be just fine, besides, minor nuisance, but we got to figure out how to combat that. I don't want my car getting broken into all the time, so I need to figure out a strategy, like how can I make my car not get broken into. So that's the only thing that's on my mind recently is, just street crime. But, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think we should record 20 seconds of that sound too,
yeah.
Or cat sound. Thank you.
So what's the end game for all this stuff? Like, what's it gonna go? Just like, where's the interview gonna go from here? What are you going to use it for?
What, the website?
Yeah, we're the field school basically measures some houses. We talk to residents, record their voices, get their stories, and then we do some research, archival research on the neighborhood and the houses. After that, there's going to be a exhibition where we're gonna have really nice boards of residents, houses, and the neighborhood. Then there is another form of presentation, which is a documentary, a small documentary that I think in total it's going to be 6 or 7 documentaries that come out of this field school. These will be available on the website, on a website, or field school website. Then there's going to be a book form that's going to be published which takes our research and puts it in a nice paper. I mean, we're not talking about $10 books. It's like a catalog kind of book with glossy pages and whatnot.
That would cover other historical homes in the city.
Yeah.
In the neighborhood.
And in the neighborhood. I mean, so this year the book will be on Washington Park. Previous year we did some other neighborhood of Milwaukee. So these, the project has been ongoing for I think 3 years.
Wow.
And
in Milwaukee.
In Milwaukee. Yeah.
With
So
different neighborhood each year.
Exactly. So we're basically gonna keep doing neighborhood, documenting neighborhoods in Milwaukee till our funding is cut off.
Okay.
So after this book form, there is another. I think in a couple of years there will be plays that are made out of. It's not going to be fictional plays. So, what you said might actually end up in a play.
Sure.
So you might reckon, oh, wait, I said that.
Yeah.
If you, so how those movies are that are supposedly based on true life stories.
Yeah.
It's going to be one step ahead, whereas movies are fictionalized. This won't be fictionalized, but it won't be a documentary either. It would be a play with play acting, and somebody might be actually playing you, saying those words. So that's another form, representation that will come out of this research that we are collecting in this month or so.
How many other homes have you profiled?
Well, we have 6 groups, 6 or 5.
6.
Okay, I think each group has done measured 2 homes, or either homes or like that Amaranth Bakery.
Yep.
We measured that. We talked to not our group, but somebody else, some other group talked to the owner there, Dave Boucher. We did the Amaranth Bakery owner owns another duplex.
Okay.
So we interviewed him about that duplex. We measured both stories of that duplex. Our group did 2, so I would say probably about 12 or 10 houses and 2 businesses.
Okay.
And we had 4 days to do that. Because this week we're just doing interviewing, and next week we're going to do archival research and looking at historic pictures and starting to put these stories together. And the 2 weeks after that, we're going to bring everything together and make that the boards, the website.
It's very crazy that Erin. I mentioned it to Erin, and then she mentioned to me that she was working with you guys.
Yeah.
And we just, and you guys just surveyed it too, so it's very crazy that all lined up like that. When did you take measurements of that house?
I think you talked to Erin on Thursday night. and we got done Thursday afternoon.
Wow. That's
Yeah, so she told me Friday, oh, hey, you want to talk to the guy who bought the house? What? You already traced him? No, I know him. Huh.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Were you guys just walking the streets and cold calling, or how did you know that house existed? Did someone see it? What set you off to that home?
Well, sit down. We're working with a neighborhood organization.
Okay.
And we have residents, the owner of this house and owner of Amaranth Bakery, for example, who sort of are longtime residents of this place and are active in neighborhood organizations and whatnot. And they are our partners. So we have a building on Lisbon and 39 where we have, I mean, that's not our building, but these residents have arranged some rooms for us to work on in that building. What is it called? Washington Park Partners Building or something? Yeah.
Okay, that's the neighborhood association. We saw a half-ass website that really didn't give us a way to grab them.
Oh yeah,
and that's the people. So we got to keep looking into that.
Yeah, it's it seems like a busy kind of organization.
Okay.
It's not 5 guys in a backyard, so they have a full office and this huge 5-story building, and so you might want to just I don't know.
We'll have to, yeah.
Yeah. Talk to those
we still haven't met the owner of the house we're moving into because the you know how the realtors, they keep you apart. I don't like that. I'd rather go straight to the owner and make a deal happen rather than you talk to this lady and then she'll talk to this dude and then he'll talk to the owner. Come on.
Yeah. Well, their stories are going to be also on the website.
Okay.
And
was he a nice dude?
He's a gem of a gentleman. So is his wife. I mean, they're both old people, but they have the experience of having lived in this neighborhood through thick and thin for years and years and years.
Why? Let me ask you a question. Why'd they sell it?
They're old enough that they wanted a smaller house that they could.
They're still in the neighborhood, from what I know, right?
Oh, you guys are going to be bumping into each other.
Good. Well, yeah,
definitely. They're like a block and a half.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm definitely want to meet him and hear all his tips and tricks on that house. We got a list that we're gonna grill him with on stuff that things we want to know about.
Yeah, and they're
I wish I could have already met him, but
yeah.
Once the deal's done, then they'll let you. Stupid. The system's dumb. People, middlemen. Why do we need the middlemen, mate? We don't need the middlemen.
Yeah, but I think you'd enjoy talking to him.
Yeah, we sent him a formal letter telling him our intentions on the house and what we want to raise our boy there, stay active in the neighborhood, make it a place. Right. Let the rest of the city know about Washington Park because no one knows about it. That band shell, holy shit, that thing's awesome and huge. The amphitheater where they play music in the park.
Oh yeah. We haven't actually.
We have heard about
there
during summer, right? They do
just go there any day, anytime when nothing's happening. You'll be blown away. It doesn't have to be a music. Just go there. Go walk around it. Walk up on the stage. Look at the massive amount of people that have room for sitting. And then look at all the statue in the background. Just go there. It definitely will help you guys. Just walk around that park more. Go walk. Have you walked around the park much?
No.
Oh, really? Go walk around.
It has been a busy week for us. It's
not that scary. It's not that scary.
Yeah.
Sound like my friends. No, I've never been there. Seriously, it'll help. Just go walk around.
Cool.
No one's there. It's so much room that even if there are people in the park, you don't even feel their presence. It's so hilly and wooded, and
Yeah, that's something I guess we need to do for the project.
just go stand,
get a
conduct
sense
an
of
interview
place.
on that stage, because you can go all the way up on the stage, and there'll be no one. You won't see anybody around, and maybe the echo will sound good for the audio.
Yeah.
You clap your hands, and it goes. So that amphitheater it's nice. It's constructed very well, built in the 30s by a beer baron, Blatz. Blatz built that, or dedicated it, or funded it, something. But it's got a big plaque on it.
Did you actually stand on the stage and clap?
Multiple days. We go there. We walk through that whole park all the time.
No, as in, did you do the clap test for the echo?
Yeah, yelled my son's name and just made a bunch of noise. No one's around. It's like there's this weird little parking lot that you can get to. It's like probably a prostitute park. It used to. I'm sure there's a lot of prostitution happening back there, or a lot of drug deals, because it's perfect. Because you have to drive down this windy road, and then you pull up behind the amphitheater, and it's just this dead parking lot that they would unload and load the musical equipment. The few times there's a performance there, I think every Wednesday they have one, but very underutilized. It's huge, and I think like the people who run the Pabst Theater, you know who they are? There's a big theater organization that has rock concerts, beautiful, renovated theaters that used to be the place to be, but then they died out. That group needs to take advantage of that park for like a summer series and do some big shows there. It's like bigger than a Summerfest stage. It's huge. There's seating for thousands of people, benches, plus the back grass is open, plus there's a giant dance floor that thousands of people can stand in front of the benches. Wow. It's a gem. No one's doing anything with it. They do like the park system does their thing where they take local bands and they put them at this park this Wednesday, that park that Tuesday, and this park that Thursday, and then they cycle the same 10 acts around to all the parks. Someone needs to go big though on that park, on that place, because no one knows it exists. It's the forgotten park of the city.
Cool.
Go there, boys.
We need to go there. Yeah, now
Go
I'm
there right
curious.
now. What are you doing after this? Just go there anytime. Probably not night. Go there during the day. I hear nights there's some shenanigans. I talked to a local cop and just like passing. I go, hey, tell me about this park. I'm moving in a house. What do you know about it? He's like, yeah, day it's fine. Night, I don't know. So, but yeah, I take my son there. He's 2. But I always feel invincible, especially now that I have a son. Who's going to screw with a guy with a baby? Really? But you watch the news, you hear otherwise. But that's my thinking. I like to put myself out there. As long as you're friendly and have a smile for the most part. I don't know. People are people. They'll leave you alone. Maybe it's travel in the world that I found out that doesn't matter. Who cares? Just go. Just do it. I think the worst thing is people acting scared and nervous about everything. If you just jump in head first, you're gonna live, and you'll see something cool, and you'll see something that the rest of the scaredy cats won't find out about, like this amphitheater that you guys gotta go see.
Cool.
It should be perfect right now. If you go there right now after the rain, no one will be in that park. It'll be completely empty. Drive down that prostitute road and park, and then get out of your car and climb up on the stage and look at the massive amount of people that could see a show there. Any other tips for me that you guys know about? Give me some parting words. What should I look for when I live there?
I think that the friends. I think that friends there will be the best for you and for your family, like your neighbors. So someone that you maybe can trust, or they can trust on you, because I think that they said that sometimes like they help each other with like the security, like remember that she said like, if someone came home late in the night and your neighbor is awake,
Sure. So
they will like they just like
looking out
see-
for your neighbor.
Yeah.
You should, yeah. There's a lot of renters there too, and usually with renters, you don't get much of that. But when there's homeowners, they usually look out. But yeah, hopefully, I can't wait.
Yeah, they said that something like the neighbors around, like adjacent neighbors, they've had good relations.
The guy who we're buying from.
Yeah.
Really good to know.
Yeah.
Like direct neighbors.
Direct neighbors have had
Okay,
good relations.
that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
You definitely want direct neighbors, but that's first, and then you can start looking around
Right.
the block. But your 1 and 2 and behind, those are the ones you want to
Right.
be in tight with.
So, I mean, there are stories of like sharing food and stuff.
Okay.
So, I mean, what I gathered was that establishing a rapport was something of a process, but the rapport was established through not so much talking and whatnot, but things like their tree, the plum tree, part of it was hanging on their neighbors, and you know the neighbors would pick plum, and then
There's a plum tree?
I think they were talking about 40th, right?
I hope so.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Okay.
so there's stories of that kind of sharing with immediate neighbors.
It's all renters though on both sides, correct?
Probably.
And they
I
are,
don't know. I don't know
Mexican,
that
right?
for sure. I don't know about that, but they said that when they moved out, they were like the last white family to be living in that
Okay.
area.
So we'll keep it going then, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean it's not like whites were kicked out;
Sure.
they left.
Yeah.
So I think what the sense I got from talking to these owners was that they were friendly with their neighbors, and you know the sentiment was reciprocated.
Perfect.
So
Yeah, it's just with renters though. They're not permanent. They're just gonna cycle through. You know, maybe they'll stay long, but for the most
Yeah.
part, renters are renters, and they're just moving. They'll move on eventually.
yeah, and I mean,
But
For the-
hopefully they don't. Hopefully they stay.
and for the time that, I mean, if you get a pissy neighbor, even though they're renters and they'll move on for a year, that year could be really long.
Yeah.
So even if they're for a year and you yourself have moved around, so
Mhm.
you know that, you know, even if you think that you're going to be there at a place permanently, permanent is a long time.
It is.
4 years down the road, well, I gotta go to this other city or this other neighborhood. Things like
Mhm.
that happen
Yeah.
with homeowners as well.
Yeah, you can always sell.
So, yeah. So the sense that I got from them was the neighborhood, they were well treated and they treated the others well, and I don't think they said anything that crime or break-ins into car was a concern for them.
Okay,
So,
good. Yeah, it's kind of on the corner of that neighborhood. It is the very corner of that neighborhood.
Right.
So maybe we'll miss a lot of the crime. I hope. I'm crossing my fingers on that one. We'll miss it. It'll miss us. It'll be over there, and we'll be right here.
well, good luck.
Thank you.
And they also have like a farmers market on Sunday. Yeah,
Yep,
that's
it's the
good.
Senior Citizen Center.
Yes. They
Definitely
the
been-
Hmong they grow food somewhere outside the neighborhood, but they sell there, and they said
Mhm.
that it's really good.
I'll definitely hit that up too. And then I'm gonna see if I can get any of my own events happening in that, because it's just ripe for the picking. No one's doing anything.
And you have a lot of big yard too.
Yeah, I love that yard. That's key for our family. We definitely need a lot of space to spread out, and I need a lot of garage to work on different projects. And
Great.
Great.
All right.
All right, guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, nice meeting you. I'm glad
Nice to meet
we
you
made that
too.
connection, and I hope you can use some
Yeah,
of it.
I hope
a
so
little
too.
bit of it. And
We'll find out next week.
yeah,
Next week is the chopping board.
Oh, so they say we'll do this, we won't do that.
Well, yeah. I mean, we have to put things together. So which quote?
Okay,
any-
gotcha.
yeah.
So you just take what you want and then
Right.
put the rest in there.
Yeah, and the rest isn't tossed out. The rest
sit
will
on
be
it.
stored somewhere.
Yeah. Well,
in a
yeah. Let me know when
repository.
it's done. Email. I'd love to look at it, and then that AutoCAD stuff. I'd love to have that eventually it's for our file of home stuff. It's just good to have.
Yeah, we'll do.
Something you could get if we had any big plans we wanted to do, which I doubt we're gonna do any thing like that after buying a home, but it'd just be good to have. Here you go. It's all set. No one has to measure it again. It's already measured.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
All right, guys.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, perfect.
So we just go downstairs and
just go downstairs.
okay.
Shut the doors behind you.
And the Rottweiler is locked in, right?
Yep. It's a crazy one too.
Is that yours?
No.
All right. Thank you.